taking a look here through the arsenal of each and every player. Not seeing anything too crazy. Obviously, we shouldn't be. Not expecting any snipers or anything like that. Any LMGs, of course, those are banned. But anyway, we're going to move on. Time for game number 3, Precinct Uplink. I'm going to go on board with Remy here off the start as Faze start to actually make a huge rush over toward middle off the break.
2 players coming towards mid with the drone. That's going to be Attach. Taking point with the objective. They start off the game with 3 kills in their favor. This could be a huge opportunity. They're going to have to kill one more wave of Allegiance players, though, after this drone is thrown so that they can keep control of the enemy base. But no, he gets stopped short just before he can get into throw range. Allegiance off the respawn. They come up and answer back in a big way, but there it is. Clayster's able to sneak by after his kill, prioritizing that objective, and is able to put point number 1 on the board for Faze.
There were 3 players there for Clayster, and he just ignores all of them. Decides not to shoot his weapon, is able to get the rebound, so big plays coming in from Faze here off the start as Attach throws the drone back to his base to kind of secure that one. He's able to find one. Trades coming in as will be an advantage of Faze for the time being. And it seems like they're actually going to have another opportunity for a team push. Mochila trying to hold this one off toward back alley, but he quickly falls. So little by little, seems that Faze starting to make their way here up through the map, and Enable could go for the 1-point toss. That should be good unless an interception comes into play, but it's not going to go through. An early 2-point advantage here for the side of Faze.
Failed interception there. Clayster trying to remain in position to keep the pressure up for his team, but Mochilla's going to take the drone, completely misdirect him there. And now, if you take a look at your mini-map in the top left corner, you're going to see Fred Faze arrows going towards that drone carrier. Moch, though, is actually going to put it down and opt to pull his gun out. The car just behind him is going to blow up in response to Zuma's grenade. Trades going back and forth. Clayster takes down Remy, and now the drone is in control of Faze.
They're actually going to be that back alley spawn, so some interesting things are coming from ALG. As the defense should definitely be set up here. Number 6 is actually going to be Attach, who's in a good line set, but he's not able to make anything happen. So we could see that cherry through, trying to push, potentially come out. Achilla looking forward, trying to be that lead blocker, finds one, nearly is able to clean up the second. That's big for that player to try and stay alive, but he's able to clean up Zuma in the end. More shots coming in. Mochila not able to stay alive for that long, and now the drone still lingering, and Faze realize that they've held on pretty solid in that defensive play. Attach trying to move that one forward. He's going to toss it through middle as Faze start to regroup.
All right, so here it is. As you said, Attach. He's just trying to regroup with the rest of his Faze roster around middle map there. Running it out into the middle of the street when they're heavily outnumbered, not the best way to approach it. That's a 2 versus 2, maybe 2 versus 3 situation, and they don't even have a read on as to where Allegiance is set up. So now they're back to base defense. Clayster and Attach are able to open it up with 2 kills, but still Allegiance follows with even more. No, Faze is able to close it out. This should be a reset of the drone or a reroute of the drone. It's turned over to Faze. They're still trying to play this middle map route. It's so tough to do, though, when Allegiance is spawning up so close to them in the alleyway.
And a team kill actually comes in. Mochila over on Simple. So that, if Faze can win a few gunfights here, that could have definitely paid dividend. But in the end, it seems that the team fight's kind of going slightly in Faze's favor. But every time they start to get close, Allegiance off of spawn is able to make a nice team hold. The defense is definitely trying to stand strong when it comes down to the slaying battle. Of course, we definitely favor Faze as Clayster is able to find a few. Royalty, most kills for his team at 10 and 9. Clayster at 10 and 7. Nades out. Zuma finds one over on Remy. They're trying to clear out this side street, but they don't realize there's one player toward that back alley side. It looks like Mochila is going to be here through middle, but he's not able to clean that one up. But who's on the drone? No one is on the drone yet. Enable has to wrap back all the way. The pass comes in, and the 1-point toss is what they might have to settle for. Another pass comes in, and Zuma is able to be there. Nice passes coming in as now I believe Faze settled for the 1. And it seems that they are going to have a big advantage. But it seemed that while they were getting constant ALG players down, it seemed that they really had a massive struggle to get any points through.
Yeah, it seems like we're having a little bit of an issue with that here. Attach, though, up until this point has been double negative for most of this game. I don't think that that's a tell as to how Attach is playing. I think it's more just the failed attempts with the objective from Faze because they've had a lot of offensive attempts here. And they've come up with for 3 points for some of them, but again, Attach just trying to focus on the objective a little bit more, even though his teammates end up finishing the job for him. Zuma, though, takes down Sinful. Naval's making moves towards alleyway. The drone's on the opposite side of it. Remy wants to get it out of his base as soon as he can. But I think they're actually just trying to waste some time here. Just 40 seconds left on the clock. It looks like they're going to go ahead and reroute it behind the lobby here towards Statue.
Tosses that one down, of course, just trying to gain a few yards, trying to rely on his team, who's not really preferred when it comes down to slaying, as Clayster finds 2, might even find the 3rd, but Remy's able to shut him down. A big 1v1 gunfight coming in from Attach, but Remy decides to play a little bit more passively, waiting for his squad to come up to maybe try and force another team fight in their favor. Shot starting to come in, the drone yet again thrown forward, so LG making slight progress, but They're getting constantly held here over inside of Closet. Sinful finds one, but cannot find the second, and Mochila is nowhere near toward that drone to try and trade. Able to escape, and he's going to have an opportunity for a last 1 point toss, but Itachi gets it thrown to him, but he's able to get the dunk at the last second. Big major plays coming in there from Faze as they're able to get the 2-point dunk there in at the end, as they'll be up 5-0 at the half.
That dunk was a huge momentum swing for Faze there towards the end of the round. That's just so demoralizing to happen at the very last second in an uplink match, especially when you're shooting at him, but the armor keeps him alive when he has that drone in his hands. So now getting into the second half, we got a pumped up Faze and a respawn game mode that they should be able to close out here. Clayster currently performing the best in the lobby, and if he can just continue with that, Faze has no sign of weakness in this uplink.
Absolutely not. Well, we'll see what ALG can potentially try and provide. Of course, that opening brick from China's side is absolutely lethal as 3 start to go down. Zoom, the last player alive, he's trying to stay up, but Remy is there, so a nice early push coming in from the ALG side. We talk about momentum. That's going to be a little bit now in ALG's favor, as it now is a 2-possession game, but Zuma trying to make that 3. Currently lingering as they try to get a push here at the start of the second half.
All right, so now we have Faze on the offense again, but they're coming in from gas side over towards construction and Cherry Blossom. It's going to be pretty difficult for them to have to, try and figure out exactly where the enemy team is lying down and waiting and playing defense from. And it looks like 2 of them will be inside of Cherry Blossom, just prone and waiting, and all the kills go in favor of them. That's just a really tough corner to turn. Like, those are really difficult gunfights to win. So now we have the turnover. Allegiance is going to take the drone with the 1-point play, but this actually might be a blessing in disguise. They could get a dunk here, but no, it's not. It looks like it is. Are you able to tell if it's out of the map? I think it's just out of play, out of range, but there we go. A Faze player picks it up, and Enable's just going to try and get it away from his satellite.
An unfortunate miss there from the side of ALG. You thought maybe the momentum, they could already score 3 at the beginning of this at the beginning of the second half, excuse me, but not able to make it happen as Attach does that one a little bit farther forward. Of course, utilizing that drone armor, might have an opportunity. He's able to swing past 2, goes for the toss, but will it go through? It's just going to be short. And it seems that ALG also being able to escape with tosses going off on either side, so both teams missing ones, but with Faze still in the lead, just under 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in the second half.
Right, so we have Allegiance up on the offensive side again here, trying to bring the drone up through a ticket booth here, but it looks like there's not a whole lot of pressure and a whole lot of assistance here or follow-up from Remy's positioning. The drone's actually going to reset back to middle map. Faze is going to maintain a defensive position around ticket booth, and no one is making any moves towards this drone, but the time is working against Allegiance. They don't have the lead. It's a 2-possession game at the moment. Faze is perfectly fine with waiting out this clock and playing some defense. As you can see, Enable in position with the MB4. They have to get through his crosshairs to come to the drone. They might be able to do that, though, now that it's 3 versus 4, or excuse me, 4 versus 1. He's going to die, though. Easy drone carry right there. The overdrive is popped. Royalty going in for the dunk. Now it's a 1-possession game. They're right back into it. 2.5 minutes to work with. Faze needs to get some points on the board here soon to increase this lead if they want any hope of finishing this game.
And if we want points, if you're a Faze fan, Clayster is the player to make those things happen. Well, Sinful able to use the rewind. He's able to find another one. That's going to be a great use of it. Sinful on a 7 spree. Now Mochila has an opportunity. Sinful absolutely going off. Zuma shuts him down in the end, but it doesn't matter as ALG have taken the lead. Just over a 2-minute warning left. When we talk about the payload usage of the side of Faze, they still have that overdrive. Attach, I believe, is getting very, very close to that rewind. Enable close to the active camo, getting closer and closer as those could absolutely play huge for the side of Faze if they want to close this one out.
All right, so Enable wants to try and have some more pressure towards mid. He knows he should be expecting someone around the corner here. Going to check his corner, slide through. He wants to play around the objective, but he does not look towards construction, and he pays for it. Now, Clayster with the overdrive active is going to take the drone. He's on the offense, but he doesn't have the support. He knows that on the opposite side of that wall are 2 different Allegiance players. So with the overdrive boost, he's going to decide to reroute, gets the beat down, and he still is stuck waiting for his team. He has no support, and he's taken out.
That's so frustrating to see. I mean, you see he rocks it maybe a little bit more prematurely as the streaks come in. The player who's trying to be the lead blocker ends up falling. Maybe they just didn't know the positioning of the side of ALG, but they've been awarded potentially a push of their own. The streaks coming in from Sinful thanks to that 8 or 9 speed that he went on. Royalty tries to go for a score, but he ends up getting shut down. I don't believe there's any players there alive. Mochila will be here, but it's a 3-on-1 for Faze as they're able to win that particular engagement, and they're trying to get this drone forward.
It was a huge play from Enable. Even though he got the team kill there, he knows he just needed to spray down to get the double kill and stop the drone, and ended up paying off. They have 1 minute, though, to get a point on the board here and either force the overtime or get 2 points and end the game. They need this respawn. They don't want to risk going to Game 5 here, even though they have potential to take it. There it happens to be Allegiance's strong point, Landon.
That's active camo earned there from Enable. Attach as well. So here comes the Active camo enabled, of course. The ping on the map might be a little bit delayed as Faze have an opportunity to go for one, but can he knock it in? It's gonna bounce! I don't know how that just happened. The lucky bounce goes in for enable, and now it's tied at 6 apiece with just 30 seconds remaining.
That 1-point play is absolutely huge. They just
forced
at least an overtime. And we see no drone control in the possession on either side here, but Attach does win the gunfight. That might be able to give it over to Faze. He has to pop the rewind, though, to avoid dying there on mid. He's not able to save it for overtime, so that might come into play here soon, as we see two players on the side of Allegiance are working towards their payloads. Clayster grabs the drone. He has 5 seconds to make something happen here, but that's not enough as it hits the ground and rolls over. That's going to be Royalty that picks it up. We're going to overtime in map 3.
I can imagine. I mean, what would have happened if, in that one play near statue, if Clayster doesn't use his overdrive? I mean, say he maybe waits for it. There's a couple times there where Clayster was in that gunfight versus Royalty. Say that gunfight goes differently, or he tries to run past Royalty. That can easily be a 1-point play in the last few seconds of that. Obviously that second half. So
or something to score here in overtime, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good point as well. So there's a lot of opportunities that overdrive can definitely provide, but you got to be looking. Mochila actually has that active camo still. Zuma with the reactive armor. About all for either side at the moment, but Zuma able to find one. Attach does as well as it looks like the payload gets rocked here from Zuma. The reactive armor just trying to stay up. Actually, the other player uses the active camo and he ends up getting dropped, so Mochila falls, and that's going to be used in a defensive manner rather than an offensive one. That's going to be wasted in some cases as he ends up falling.
3 Allegiance players around ticket booth, and Clayster knows he doesn't stand a chance when he's that outnumbered. Score streaks coming in as well to keep them off the power position. Drone gets thrown towards L-Wall. Clayster's trying to take point, maybe bait out an Allegiance player to run into his tactical, but Attach is making his job a whole lot easier as he blows open the gates for the 2-piece. 1 player last on Z. Someone needs to get this trade, but no one can stop Sinful. There we go. Enable puts him down. 1 more in ticket booth. Enable just saved that entire engagement there, as that player on Z surely would have pushed through, been able to make something happen. And Remy, the player on Z, does just that, finding his kill. Trade coming in from Enable again, the 2-piece, pre-firing for the 3rd. He runs out of ammo, switches weapon, finishes the job anyway. That's a huge momentum swing for Faze. Someone needs to grab the drone, get some objective work done here, as Enable slaying out the entire enemy team. But it resets back to middle map, and now they have to do it all over again. Luckily for them, Allegiance all around alleyway. No, but they get the kills in their favor. There's the 1-point play in 1 minute and 23 seconds.
That was such a huge sequence of kills going in Enable's favor, because you look at it, both players are kind of spawning on the opposite side. Allegiance was getting ready to gain some map control, and Enable's able to go big with a number of different kills. Attach ends up dropping toward that backside, but he's able to gain enough time to allow Clayster to move forward. So with that in mind, time set at 1 minute and 23. Of course, this is not by any means undoable for the side of Allegiance. It's just a 1-point play.
Well, they're about to have Remy's reactive armor to work with, but him losing that engagement is actually big, as if he'd won it, he would have access to it and could continue to slay alongside Sinful, who's trying to play the objective, but all of his team falls. Faze gets most of the kills. Sinful's the only one that can do any damage here, and Enable, the one who went so clutch for Faze the round before this overtime, is still staying alive and doing damage alongside Clayster. It's just so devastating. It's so oppressive. Clayster, Zuma, Enable pushing through. No issues at all. 50 seconds. They're still running that clock down, and the time is working against Allegiance. There's the dunk. That's the game. Map number 3 goes to Faze.
That was such a huge play at the start of that after that second overtime, because what Faze tries to do there, you notice those smokes coming out. What they're trying to do is, when that team is spawning on China side, Allegiances, you're able to send 2 through back gas, 2 through middle, and if you're able to have those players